Hey, all you sassy preppers, welcome back to Sassy Gal Preppin'. Today, I'm going to share with you 7 tips to stay strong in a crisis. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to Sassy Gal Preppin', and today I want to share with you these tips for staying strong in a crisis. And this crisis could be anything. I'm not just talking about the big things that are happening out there in the world. This could be something that is happening in your life that is close to home. Anything that is where you feel that your world is crumbling or falling apart around you. Even though it might not necessarily be a crisis to me, it could be a crisis to someone because everybody is in a different place. And I've been seeing on other people's videos, we're all experiencing being tired and being burned out. And I can see, a crisis coming amongst those in our community, if you want to call this a prepper community, where, we are just dealing with a lot of stress. For me, I'm dealing with a lot of stress because I'm having a very hard time getting things to grow outside. I've got one area where things seem to be doing pretty well. I've got some beans that seem to be really coming along well. Cucumbers are coming up, but things seem to be moving really slow. I'm thankful that I have time to make mistakes right now, because if my life depended on it right now, we would be starving. With that said, I want to say that crises are inevitable, but the way you respond to them is optional. You can write that down too. Just accepting the fact that the crises will happen. You won't be surprised. People's behavior nowadays, that doesn't surprise me anymore. I'm like, well, of course it would be like this. I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. When I realize that, people are people, they're human. They have flaws. They have strengths. When I see people, getting discouraged or they react and they snap, especially like out in the stores, I see it happening. People are frustrated. So that's not shocking to me. I will expect to see people during these days be frustrated. And so it's not surprising. So if you're experiencing a personal crisis, the first thing I would want to recommend is that you accept reality, accept the crisis that has come your way. I'm not saying that you have to like it. I'm not saying that you have to embrace it, and just be all joyful about it. But it's when you're facing bad news, you'll waste a lot of time by thinking, this can't be happening. This shouldn't be happening. Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening now? We can do a whole bunch of the what ifs and whys and this, that, and the other thing. And you're going to be wasting a lot of mental energy by worrying about it, trying to figure it out, or trying to argue about the fairness of it all. Life isn't fair. If that's surprising to you, you better accept the reality that life is not fair. Life does not care about your feelings, okay? Life it's set in motion and it just is going on. Okay. It's going to go on with or without you. So you need to decide now, are you going to stay with it? Are you going to be a participant in life, or are you going to be digging your heels in and you're going to be complaining and grumping and griping along the way? The sooner you just accept that this is how it is, then you will be able to take positive action. And like I said, you don't have to like it, but you'll be able to take positive action, and you will be not wasting so much energy. Okay, you'll be able to take the energy that you have and put it into positive action. And speaking of action, you'll be able to act from the strength that you already have. And yes, you do have strength. Everybody has some, okay? Some of us have more than others. Some of us have been through more experiences that have allowed us to be stronger, but that's okay. We don't all have to be at the same levels, which is why we have teamwork, we have partnerships and communities where we can help each other. But I want you to know that deep down, and you may not see it right now, but you have strength already. And when the sooner that you put it to use, the sooner that you be like, all right, come on, let's go. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Let's go. Because you've made the decision to accept the situation that has happened, you'll find yourself getting stronger because you're exercising the little bit of strength, courage, faith that you have. And when you do that, you're going to come out a lot stronger. You're going to be able to grow through what you go through. A lot of people are talking like right now and want to try to build up, you better get mentally tough. And I've even said it. Now's the time to get strong, people. It's time to pull up those sassy pants so that you're ready when the sass hits the fan. Okay. You want to pull up them britches. We're focusing so much now, like, got to get strong, be mentally strong. And that's very true. We want to be doing it now because the time to do it is not when the crisis happens. If you're waiting for that to happen, that's going to be like someone that's trying to, lift a bunch of weights, do a bunch of powerlifting right before they have to go pick up something heavy. That's not the time to do it. Okay. Because someone who's a bodybuilder, someone who's lifting weights, they're doing it for days, weeks, months on end to be able to get to that point of where they need to, perform at a stronger level. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen like this. And if you think that you're going to be mentally strong, or you're going to be, strong enough for your situation, when it happens, I'll take care of it when I get there. I've heard a lot of people say that you may be able to do it once, but you won't be able to do it repeatedly and you won't be able to endure. Sometimes crises will be over, in a matter of days, hours. Sometimes it might be a week or so. Let's say it's a power outage of some sort, after a storm rolled through or a hurricane, tornado or something. And you have a crisis that does have an end in sight because things will kind of start to get back to normal. That's one thing. And you can survive enough. You can do enough by flying by the seat of your pants for that. But what we're talking about here, in our communities, on a lot of prepping channels, a lot of news channels, things that are going to happen are going to be for the long haul. In fact, I would say that we are in a crisis, and we have been since 2020. And while that crisis was a shock to a lot of people, the crisis hasn't ended yet. That is creating a lot of stress because each time we think that, well, it's going to be just a little bit, it's going to be 2 weeks, then it's going to be 2 months, and then it's going to be a few more months, or then it's going to be just till spring. And then, and it just keeps going and going. And that takes a toll. Okay. That's a crisis that's never ending in sight, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So let's move on to the next thing. And the next thing is just asking for help. Seek support. For when you're encountering or when you're going through a crisis or when a situation has happened, seek help, camaraderie, brainstorming, collaborations from friends, from your loved ones, from maybe professionals. If we're talking about maybe a health diagnosis of some kind, you might want to seek professional help on how to deal with that. When you're going through a crisis, it's important that the communication is there. Verbally tell people, what you need. Tell them what you're going through. Trying to bottle everything up, that might be okay if your scenario might be recovering from a power outage, that kind of thing. It might be okay. And then you could talk about it afterwards. But in certain cases, and when these crises that we're talking about or the one that we're just kind of currently in, it just seems like it's just never ending. We need to be talking. We need to be talking about what we're going through. The feelings, the frustration, the what ifs, because there's a whole bunch of I don't know out there, right? I keep waiting for the next thing to fall. Is the bottom going to fall out today? Is SHTF going to be today? We don't know, right? And that's probably what's like killing a lot of us right now, is that we're waiting for the thing to happen. We're doing the best that we can. This is where I'm at right now. If it was to happen today, well, okay. So anyway, so you want to get emotional support from people who will come alongside you. They will roll up their sleeves and get in there with you. They will pray with you. They will pray for you. They will challenge you. They'll listen to you. They'll let you cry on their shoulder. They'll point you into a direction where someone can help you, someone that might be a little bit more experienced in a certain area, or they might have those professional skills. So it's very important to seek support while you're going through your crisis. The next thing is being self-aware. It's important to know what's going on with your body. So it's important to pay attention to what you're eating. Are you eating, for one? And then what are you eating? For two, because there are certain things that you're going to be able to eat that are going to nourish you and give you the energy to sustain, or you're going to be eating crappy food that's going to bog you down and you're going to feel all sluggish and don't want to do anything. So it's important to pay attention to what you're eating. It's important to pay attention to your sleep. Are you sleeping? How good is your sleep? Do you feel refreshed, or do you feel like you hadn't slept at all? And then it's important to just take the breaks. You need rest for your body, rest for your soul, and rest for your mind. What brings you relaxation may not be the same as someone else, but I would suggest that you are open to try new things, because you never know. As you're talking with other people or watching videos or that kind of thing, they might actually help you, give you some new ideas, because you might be surprised. Maybe that thing that you never thought that you would like, you end up liking when the crisis comes along, because now you're in a different mindset. So in a crisis, you're going to likely need to give up some things so that you can focus on the task at hand, or the things that are more important. So you're writing a list of things that need to be done. And then you're going to prioritize, well, this one needs to actually be done first because of this. You're going to be thinking through things. I need to do this first, and I need to do this first. When you come into maybe the next day, that list is going to shift, because maybe the weather changes. So you're like, well, I can't do this today, so I'm going to have to move that to tomorrow. And, so you're constantly evaluating and shifting things around. The next thing would be to keep a sense of normalcy. And when I look back into 2020, like I said, that was a crisis for a lot of people. It was a global crisis, but here in America, things were shuttered up, and everyone was at home together. And for some people, that was a crisis. It upset a lot of schedules, a lot of work schedules. Parents were home with kids. They didn't know what to do anymore. Spouses were home with each other, and everyone's trying to figure out how to operate in this crisis mode. I'm a homeschool veteran. I've been homeschooling for 17 years. I've got one more left to go. She's got a few more years, and then we'll be done. What I was telling families then is to keep a sense of normalcy, keep a routine going. So you still get up at the same time, you still go to bed at the same time, you still have your bedtime routines, you still have your morning routines. We always made a point of eating dinner together as a family, as we were always doing different things throughout the day, even in the same house, where it's bringing everyone back together. That creates a sense of calm, unity, and a little bit of normalcy. And lastly, I want to end with this. Grow from your experience. And I was talking about this earlier, grow through what you go through. That's a saying that I use a lot when I'm counseling people who go through traumatic situations. And some crises have a start and an end. For example, maybe a storm. That period of time, you could probably fly by the seat of your pants. You could hold a lot of your emotions in, but in order for you to grow from that, you're able to, when the whole thing is over, be able to sit down and take stock of what you learned and how you coped through the situation. You can take the time to celebrate the wins and successes, the things that did work, but then you're able to sit down and with a clearer head, be able to say, you know what, I realized I need to have this in place, and I need to be doing this. And it helps you actually think out a few more scenarios to help you be better prepared in case something like that happens again. But a lot of times you won't have that opportunity, because some crises just don't have an end in sight. Like I was talking about, from 2020 until now, it doesn't seem like we're ever having an end to this crisis. It's just something new. Every time we're turning the corner, it's something else. We turn this corner and it's something else. And then there's something else that's thrown in our path. When will the bottom fall out? It's just this thing of just keeps lingering and lingering and lingering. Is it ever going to happen? When will it happen? When will I get out of this? Will we ever get out of this? Just all those kinds of questions. And that's the crisis that has no end in sight. And in this case, you're going to have to grow through what you're going through. So in the first scenario, you're able to grow afterwards. You're able to take stock of what happened, realize what your strengths and your weaknesses were, and then you're learning from that experience and able to hit the next one. But this one, there just hasn't been any time where there's been a stopping point. You've been able to step back and say, okay, well, the next time this happens, I know what to expect. This, you're going to be constantly evaluating. You're going to be checking with yourself every day, every week. You're going to be looking for wins. And those wins are something that you can pat yourself on the back for, or it's something that you can be grateful for. You're looking back and say, I was really grateful that I had this in place, or I'm grateful that I'm alive and I can talk about it. And even in the hard times, even when there's crises and you're feeling that your world is falling apart, there is always something that you can find to be grateful for. There's always something that you can find within yourself that you can pat yourself on the back for. And if you can do that, you can find those things, then you're pretty strong already. There's already strength within you. You just haven't realized it yet. I hope those 7 tips were helpful to you about staying strong in crisis situations. And I hope that you'll be able to, apply those, or be able to even use some of them right now today. Because, like I said, sometimes that there are crises in our lives that just never seem to end. And there's situations where we're like constantly in survival mode. And I think that's where we're at right now. A lot of us are right there where we're constantly in survival mode because we see what's going on out there, and we're constantly on alert because the stress of the world is really starting to show itself, and it's just happening in small areas like in your grocery stores or on the road. People are going through a lot. Everybody's going through something. I really do hope that was helpful, and I just wanted to share that with you because I love y'all, and I want you to be strong when crises come, no matter what they are in your life. I want to wish you well until the next video. Take care, be aware, and in prayer, y'all. Catch you next time.